Hello everyone. Despite the fact that the amazing digital circus seems to be a fun and upbeat place, many fans and general viewers have perceived it as a horror movie. Although the author Gooseworx himself has stated many times that the digital circus is in no way a horror story. But I agree with those who think that the digital circus is a creepy and horrible place, as well as the author, because most of the episode shows us funny and colorful scenes in which there is not even the slightest hint of any horror. But in this video, I have collected some facts for you that will make you wonder if this circus is really as joyful as it is presented to us, or if there is something more and terrible in it. Watch this video to the end and then write your opinion in the comments about what the digital circus really is, a happy place or a real horror. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and here we go. I'm going to start with the least horrifying facts and then gradually increase the degree so that you can get the most out of this video. I think it's no secret that the characters have been in the circus for several years, and some of them for several decades. And they cannot get out, because the existence of a way to get out into the real world, they just do not realize, because in their heads long ago implanted the idea that they will remain prisoners of this digital horror forever. All the characters did not enter the circus at the same time, but one by one they teleported into the circus, and before them lived many characters in the circus. But unfortunately, we will never see them again, because they were able to free themselves, if you can call it that. And this fact is not even hidden from us, because in one scene, Jax tells Pomni directly that they have been living in the digital circus for years. And the fact that Kinger has been experiencing the horrors of the digital circus for the longest time won't be news to you either. And now imagine, ordinary people who like to play computer games with the help of new technologies become hostages of this very game, and there will be no way back because they themselves will not understand how to get out, and no one will tell them. And so their existence gradually turns into a huge torture of themselves, day after day, month after month, year after year. I think you have realized that every day is absolutely the same day for them. You could call it Groundhog Day, because only the tasks or the circus inhabitants change. For us, as well as for Pomni, it's all completely new, because we're seeing it for the first time, but you close your eyes and imagine for a second that you're experiencing it every day. And you don't have to imagine. In fact, even the song from the intro completely confirms every word I'm saying. We will come back to this subject a little later because I have not told you all about it, but it is necessary. Now we are going to talk a lot about Pomni-related leaks, but these are not just leaks, but very creepy, unfortunate footage or references. I had a separate video on this topic, but it would be a crime not to show them here, as they fit the theme of our video perfectly. I understand that in some moments the writers could be making a joke on us and making a reference to a well-known story. Some shots could be really accidental because no one is immune to such things, but I will never in this life not understand how it could be accidental or what it is a reference to. Maybe it's just a joke, or maybe this shot was shown to us on purpose to make us understand that behind all the colorfulness of the circus, there is horror, fear, pain, and misunderstanding. Or maybe it's a hint for a separate animated short in which Pomni will be shown in the role of such a scary creature, because you can't even call this screamer a character. Well, now it's time to talk about the most important intent of the amazing digital circus, which part of the fans know, and the other part doesn't even guess about it. But after this fact, those people who happened to come to my video and never watched the pilot episode of the amazing digital will be really surprised, maybe even scared, and for some reason I think they will go and watch the pilot episode right away. Each character is an illustration of a mental disorder or disease. We are not doctors, although some of us are, but I cannot diagnose a character with absolute accuracy. But as long as the author is silent, we will analyze and understand who is who. First on my list would be Kinger, of course, because he is the perfect illustration of schizophrenia. Aside from the fact that he has anxiety, panic attacks, or whatever, he's just a deeply mentally ill person. He has auditory hallucinations because he hears about the insect collection even though no one has ever mentioned it. His memory is also beginning to fail his master because he can easily forget that he is not alone in the room, and when he sees someone, he gets very frightened. Next we have Kinger's partner in the pilot, Gangle. At first you might say that she's just a depressed girl who doesn't see any joy in life. You would be both right and wrong because everyone knows that Gangle has two masks, a comedy mask and a tragedy mask. But here her comedy mask was broken, and that was the only thing that could lift her mood. That means Gangle can change her mood instantly when she changes her mask. Does that remind you of anything? Exactly, it's bipolar personality disorder. Also, a long time ago we were shown Gangle's room, where besides the already known masks there are two very strange masks, one of which looks like it was burned very badly. Maybe it's Kane who invented such entertainment for her. But that's not the point, and right underneath is half of the broken mask. And this is where it gets interesting because you'd think it was just one of the masks of comedy or tragedy, but it's not. Look closely and you will see that this mask clearly represents some kind of evil. Perhaps this mask is causing Gangle to become evil. It would be interesting to see this image and what it would do to Jax after so many years of bullying and humiliation. Regatha is the clearest case study of insecurity. Even though she is quite a sweet and cute girl, she still thinks she is inferior to others and feels it is her duty to fit in with others to her own detriment. I get the feeling that Regatha can't show her true self, because even when she wants to get angry and prove someone wrong, she still holds back so as not to offend the character. Though sometimes we see the real Regatha when she just acts the way she wants to act. But even in those moments, she starts holding back and immediately steps into someone else's role of a cheerful and friendly girl. But it's exactly this kind of behavior that drove our poor girl crazy, and if it wasn't shown to us yet, we saw it with our own eyes. Jax is probably the most ambiguous character because I could not come to a conclusion. On the one hand, we can safely say that our rabbit has a huge selfishness and megalomania because he does not care about anyone else's life but his own. He is absolutely indifferent to the fact that he may offend, hit, or insult someone. Maybe Jax has been a bully his whole life, but what if he hasn't? What if Jax used to be a kind and helpful person who was often taken advantage of and he couldn't do anything about it? And that's why he had to put on the tough guy mask. Because now he's not the one getting hurt, he's the one getting hurt. And in the minds of people who are living with childhood trauma in the form of bullying, this behavior seems perfectly normal, because if he was treated that way, why can't he do the same? It is very difficult to say anything about the main character Pomni at the moment, because she is in the digital circus for a very short time. But even for one day of life there, we can see how Pomni has hints of mental problems at the end. Perhaps the author wanted to use Pomni as an example to show us how the transformation from a normal, happy person to a mentally ill person actually takes place in the amazing digital circus. I feel like we're forgetting someone, but I'm deliberately not talking about that character before because Zooble is the most ambiguous character in the digital circus. The thing is, Gooseworx is completely associated with Zooble. Nobody, including Zooble herself, still understands her gender. Is she a woman or a man? This is probably the biggest mystery of the whole digital circus. Zooble herself epitomizes the problem of identifying her gender, as she has a hard time deciding who she is. Her life can't follow any particular script as all her time is taken up with struggling to simply find and understand herself. Perhaps the problems Gooseworx experienced are a reflection of Zooble's behavior in our beloved and terrible series. The author also stated that Zooble has a huge box in her room where she keeps her body parts and can transform herself whenever she wants. This is her way of trying to accept herself, but so far she has not succeeded. But maybe in episode 3, because according to Gooseworx and Glitch, episode 3 will be all about Zooble, we'll get a more detailed look at the personality of this strange character and we'll finally be able to understand what Zooble is really like. Zooble is also a rebel in the circus, as she refuses to participate in Kane's adventures, won't help anyone, and talks down to everyone. Well, it's time to sum up. At first glance, the amazing digital circus seems to be a cheerful and colorful place where harmony and peace thrive. But behind this mask, there is a terrible place where the characters have to live every day as before. A place from which you can never get out, and with 99% probability, you will go crazy, as we have seen in the example of all the characters. So even if you manage to get to the real world, you will never be the same great person your friends and family knew you to be. But as always, it's up to you to decide what the digital circus is. A friendly and positive place where the characters enjoy their lives, or a digital hell that only serves to worsen the mental state of everyone inside. I'm looking forward to your feedback in the comments. Well, that's it. I wish you success and good luck, and it's time for me to tell you to see you in the new videos that will appear every 2 days.